Our extraordinary cool student on TV, EO Galvez, will talk about how, in our small way, we can help preserve our environment through the practice of reduce, reuse, and recycle. Let's watch this.
Welcome to another session with me, EO Galvez, your one and only extraordinary student on TV. There are actually no tons of specific mandatory cool rules to mention, but you can tremendously bring your coolness to an all-new level. With millions of students enrolled this year around the world, can you imagine the tremendous, vast, astounding amount of waste created? That is why it is very cool for you to fight waste at school. Waste is really a problem, but fortunately, there are three things that we can do about it. We call these the 3 R's, that is, reduce, reuse, and recycle. Reduce means to cut the amount of stuff you use in the first place, so that you have less to throw away. Reuse means to use things again and again and again, or how many times you may use it. And third is recycle, which means using things that have already been used to make new things. Here's some ideas on how to do these 3 things at school. First is how to reduce. Rather than starting a new page for each piece of work, rule off below previous work and continue on the same page. If you take your own lunch to school, aim for waste-free lunches. Use reusable bottles or flasks for drinks instead of individual cartons or cans, and reusable airtight containers for snacks and packed lunches instead of disposable wrappers, and perhaps most importantly, don't take more food than you can eat. Buy snacks with less packaging on them. For example, an apple instead of a packet of crisps. And when organizing parties at Christmas and the end of the term, use washable plates and cups and metal cutlery instead of disposable ones made from paper and plastic. Second is reuse. How do you do that? Always use both sides of a piece of paper before you recycle it or throw it away. Make sure that every classroom has a scrap paper tree and put paper that has only been used on one side into this, rather than putting it straight in the bin or sending it off for recycling. The paper can then be used for rough work or at times. Reuse old paper that cannot be written on anymore to make paper mache models or masks. You can also mix it with water and mash it up to make a pulp for 3D modeling or make your own recycled paper. Find uses for other items of waste. For example, in artwork or using plastic pots for growing seeds. Or you can use refillable pens instead of disposable ones. Use refillable pens instead of disposable ones. Buy a special flask or wash out an old bottle. Fill it with water and take it to school each day. But don't forget to clean it thoroughly before using it again the next day. And lastly, hold a bring and buy sale to raise money for your school or for another good cause, to which people can bring old clothes, toys, or books for someone else to buy and reuse. And lastly, recycle. Not surprisingly, the main material thrown away by schools is paper, which makes up at least quarter of the waste produced by schools. You can ask your school to provide a paper recycling bin, and if your school has a drink vending machine, put a bin next to it to collect up old cans for recycling. You can even use these to make money for your school. Set up a composting scheme or a composter for food and green waste, including all the staff's tea bags and your fruit scraps. In some cases, compost bins can be provided to schools free of charge. So, remember to reduce, reuse, and recycle your waste. It is much better to reduce waste in the first place, as then there's less to deal with. Reusing things is the second best option as it saves you buying new things after you have reduced and reused as much as you can. Recycle, the last thing that should cross your mind is to throw it in the bin. And that's another collection of cool tips from your one and only extraordinary student on TV, EO Galvez. See you again next time as we go cool in school.